It is week 53 of EconoChat Let's Talk Business with Mr. Daniel Steinman. I am Elsie and I will be hosting you today. Welcome, Mr. Steinman.
Thank you very much, Elsie, especially seeing that we're starting our second year.
Second year.
Yeah, it's a big milestone.
Would you like to elaborate to our listeners what we mean by second year?
Yeah, we've, on the calendar, we completed the first year's recordings in October or November. Remember, we announced that.
Yeah.
But in terms of weeks completed or number of recordings, previous session was the 52nd recording, and there are 52 weeks in a year. So number 53 is officially the first recording in the second 1 year cycle.
Look at that. And we certainly are looking forward to another exciting year of EconoChat Let's Talk Business with Mr. Daniel Steinman. And on that note, last week we spoke about the worldwide recession. And Mr. Daniel Steinman, you did mention that Namibia, on the other hand, we're not going to go through that because Namibia. Okay.
It is unlikely.
Because there are, or let me rather say that somewhere, somehow, Namibia has adjusted to the worldwide recession, meaning that we probably have prepared.
We started with that in 2016.
Yes. So we have prepared, but also because there's so much focus on Namibia globally right now for various reasons, and that is, of course, also in the mining sector. And when we talk about the mining sector, we also refer to uranium.
Yeah, Elsby, you're 100% correct.
Yeah.
You know, people look at me very skeptical. How can you speak in the face of a storm wind, so to speak? You know? How can you say that you don't expect a recession for Namibia when every other analyst in the whole rest of the world is telling us 2023 will be a recession?
Yeah.
And then I say, let me give you some empirical evidence, not just opinion or what I think or what's going to happen. I'm bargaining a lot on the uranium sector, and there are very good reasons for that, and this is what we're going to talk about today.
Okay.
Why do I see uranium playing such a meaningful role in? Remember, we had good growth in 2022.
Yeah.
Now the question is, can this be sustained? And if I say yes, if I make that very difficult claim to say yes, it can be sustained, I have to be able to prove it, or at least to state something tangible that you can break down, you can compare, and you can see where it leads to. Why I say uranium? First of all, you know, uranium was a maligned commodity. In the 60s and 70s, when I was a boy, the West Germans, remember Germany was still divided then into East Germany and West Germany. The West Germans had this big issue about nuclear fuel and nuclear contamination. This was almost like a social theme in films and in songs and in poems and in artwork. You had this apocalyptic view. Somewhere somebody is going to push the wrong button and Chernobyl is going to happen 50 times over, and goodbye little Daisy, we're all going to smithereens, you know. Now what's very interesting, it's now more than 50 years later, never happened. We had Chernobyl and we had nuclear incidents here and there, but people quickly forget, especially newspapers, you know. 3 days after the nuclear explosion, they forgot what happened there, and they don't come back a year later and tell you it's been contained. And they don't come back 10 years later and tell you that the whole Chernobyl site in the Ukraine has been revitalized or returned to nature. So what is this thing about uranium as a fuel?
Yeah.
And then this is what I want to point out and highlight, that the perception of uranium was very negative. And then something happened last year. very recently, about 3 months ago, there in November, something happened that changed that whole picture. And I'm giving a 5-cent coin to anybody who can guess what that is, but we'll come back and talk about it.
Okay, we certainly can't wait for Mr. Steinman to bring clarity on that. So let's quickly go for a short break.